Please subscribe to the channel to watch the latest videos.
Hello Patriots, I'm at Restored Republic via a GC.R update compiled by Judy Byington. There is no goal beyond our reach. There is no dream too large, no task too great. As long as we have faith in each other and trust is in God. President Trump. Worldwide military sting operations. Where we go one, we go all. Justice is coming. Trust the plan. Q. Judy note, October 28th, over 32 governors and top military officials have been summoned to the Pentagon. And it says, 32 governors, top military officials summoned to the Pentagon, not for a routine meeting. Saturday, October 28th, President Trump's second Declaration of Independence. Douglas McGregor's last warning. In 24 hours, everything changes for the U.S. Iran is ready. The Biden administration has been found liable by a House of Representatives committee. The House has the sole power of impeachment for crimes against humanity due to illegally run foreign and domestic business dealings. Joe Biden's impeachment is looking more likely. The U.S. was already in a transition period away from the 1871 Corporate Act, which gave U.S. taxpayer monies away to the Khazarian Mafia Rothschild-controlled private corporations of Washington, D.C., the Vatican, City of London, Buckingham Palace, and State of Israel, all of which were now officially bankrupt. The State of Israel completing its transition as of Tuesday, October 31st, 2023. Removing Joe Biden was basically removing the U.S. from Khazarian Mafia Rothschild control of our country. Since the National Defense Authorization Act was passed in 2017, we have been under continuity of government, COG, law or military law. The military was founded first in our nation, which means they are now over every branch of government, including the president. The Department of Defense has already established a presidential transitional order that became effective on February 3rd, 2023. Trump has been biding his time, waiting to step in and save the country. This is massive. The end of the deep state. Global currency reset. Saturday, October 28th. Alex Collier. The dinar went international on Friday, October 27th. The new international rate should be on the Forex Monday, October 30th. On Friday, October 27th, they began pulling 3,600 U.S. troops out of Iraq, so Iraq could declare Iraq a sovereign nation, likely around Monday, October 30th. 2 days ago, President Trump said the next 7 to 8 days would be ones to be remembered. Saturday, October 28th, from Mark Z. They have a lot of anticipation between now and the 1st of November. Lots of chatter for a rate change by the 1st. They're still cracking down on leaks from the groups and historic bond circles, so it's very difficult to get updates. I'm not hearing anything negative, and bond folks still think by November 4th. Sunday, October 29th, Wolverine. Great news coming from Colombia. They had a meeting and no one was to take their cell phones inside for security reasons. What came out was fantastic news. They are ready to go. Just hold on, guys, and have faith. We are definitely close now. Already in South America, some people have been told which bank they have to go to. We are close, so stand by, everyone. Thursday, October 26th, TNT. Today we were told that the new dinar rate announcement was imminent. Iraq placed lower denoms of dinar at ports and airlines on Thursday, October 26th. Wednesday, October 25th, militiaman. Recently, we showed that the World Trade Organization is talking about full ascension in the fourth quarter, and we are now in that fourth quarter. For the past 2 weeks, the revalued Iraqi dinar has been trading on the back screens of the Forex and putting itself in a position for the new international exchange rate that was soon to be made public according to Iraqi banks. Get ready for EBS activation. Q says that every Argentina's election on Sunday, October 22nd, everything would change and the world would soon have no internet for a while. We are approaching that timeline. Get ready for it. Q bombshell. EBS activation on October 22nd. Biden's retirement, Trump's return, and the White Hat's plan revealed before its news. EBS activation on Tuesday, October 31st. Trump said he was turning off the friggin' lights at Halloween. Did he mean EBS activation on Tuesday, October 31st? In the next 3 to 6 months, the Rodriguez Trust will begin to administer universal basic income for citizens of all GC.R compliant countries. The amount per individual or family will depend on the status, needs, employment level, and age of the person, family, and will work to encourage people to work if they can. Saturday, October 28th, Q phones and GC.R, quantum phones and the Starlink network powered by Stellar blockchain. Judy notes from audio by Alex Collier on the Rubik's Q site of Telegram, put up Saturday evening. The dinar went international on Friday, October 27th. International rate $11.90. In-country rate $4.80. Contract rate $16.50. The new international rate should be on the Forex Monday, October 30th. On Friday, October 27th, they began pulling 3,600 U.S. troops out of Iraq, so Iraq could declare themselves a sovereign nation, likely around Monday, October 30th. 2 days ago, President Trump said the next 7 to 8 days would be ones to be remembered. The quantum financial system would be fully running by mid-December. Around December 15th, the breakage of the Three Gorges Dam would start a black swan event that would trigger everything, including release of 6,000 cures in the medbeds. The earthquakes on the Yangtze River in China were caused by the White Hats taking out underground tunnels and child trafficking facilities. We were not at war with Russia nor China. We are at war with the Rothschild family. The entire family would be taken down. 2 must-watch videos: Mike Adams, Christine Massey, Stu Peters, and Dr. David Martin. Global financial crisis. Saturday, October 28th, the U.S. debt clock secret window, part 1 and 2 of the analysis, October 28th. Bitcoin was found by the cabal, used for child trafficking, and backed by nothing. So do you actually think we want this evil energy in the new system? Not. 1910, representatives of the Rockefellers, Rothschild, Morgan, and other private bankers gathered on Jekyll Island to create the Federal Reserve. Ford stock plunges. That's finance.yahoo. Banks are dead. Banks in crisis mode. J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Goldman Sachs close hundreds of branches and lay off thousands as they brace for financial meltdown in an unprecedented move that spells doom for the U.S. banking sector. J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Goldman Sachs have initiated a series of drastic measures. The financial titans are shutting down hundreds of branches and pink-slipping thousands of employees, all in anticipation of a financial meltdown that could reshape the nation's financial landscape. On Sunday, October 29th, Craig Beardsley, it's an open secret that 21 major countries are refusing to use U.S. dollars for oil, and that last date to refuse to use U.S. dollars for oil is October 31st, 2023. No country will buy bonds that can't be used to buy oil. China has announced they will no longer buy U.S. debt. Sunday, October 29th, you ain't seen nothing. The new restored republic status. Judy note, a big thank you to Ariel on Twitter for supplying the below information. The deep state aimed to create a world system of financial control through dominating the political system of each country and the economy of the world as a whole. The White Hats aim to destroy that system and give economic freedom back to the people. Actually, the White Hats had already taken control and say that everything that was happening publicly right now was a result of what has already happened privately. What was happening publicly around Biden right now was pretty dramatic, although he didn't appear to notice. On Friday, October 27th, Biden headed for a relaxing day at the beach, seemingly unaware, or maybe he just didn't care, about a nuclear World War III that was threatening the Middle East. Another couple of things that Biden might have wanted to contemplate in this day of relaxation at the beach, but likely didn't. Last week, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas accepted an 11th Circuit emergency writ for a Florida 2020-2022 election fraud case just one day before Mike Johnson was announced as the new Speaker of the House, meaning not only did Thomas now have the power to rule on 2020 election fraud, which could take down the Biden administration and all of Congress, but now Johnson had the power to impeach Biden. It was a double whammy to take down Biden, and a third was on its way. By Friday, October 27th, Fox News let it out that president of a bankrupt U.S. Inc., Joseph Biden, was found liable for crimes against humanity. According to an investigation by the U.S. House of Representatives, Biden was officially accused of performing the impeachable offenses of human trafficking, election fraud, bribery, money laundering, and other high crimes through his international business dealings while serving as congressman and U.S. vice president. With the investigation of Biden completed, the new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, could now call for impeachment. Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution stated that the sole power of impeachment belonged to the House of Representatives. Article 2, Section 4 states, the President shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, money laundering, misdemeanor, or other high crimes. Perhaps knowing the above was going to happen, the Department of Defense had already established a presidential transitional order that became effective on February 3rd, 2023. Removing Joe Biden from office was basically removing the U.S. from Khazarian, Mafia, Rothschild control of our country. Back in Biden's inauguration days, a razor wire lined fence was put in that drew a circle around the U.S. Capitol, Supreme Court, and federal office buildings. This was the U.S. military deeming it was a foreign occupied territory under the District of Columbia. That municipal government was a plenary oligarchy run by the members of Congress. Since the municipality of Washington, D.C. is an independent international city-state squatting on our shores, and its government is a plenary oligarchy run by the members of some unidentified Congress, we were left with a gang of international criminals operating pirate base on our East Coast. This is coming to an end. Now, with the pending global currency reset, we are now in a transition period away from the 1871 Corporation Act. It all started way back in that 1871 when Congress passed the 1871 Act of England, forming a private corporation known as, in capitals, the United States, while ending the U.S. taxpayers' rights of sovereignty. The U.S. Inc. Corporation, owned by foreign interests, including the Rothschilds and their Khazarian Mafia, out of Israel, shoved the organic version of the Constitution aside by changing the word for to of in the title. The act gave U.S. taxpayer monies to the bankers and those private bankers led by the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and their Khazarian Mafia out of Israel. Eventually established their own privately owned Federal Reserve and IRS in the foreign countries of Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico. In fact, not only did Washington, D.C.'s U.S. Inc. become a private corporate entity that went bankrupt in 2008, but the Vatican, City of London, Buckingham Palace, and State of Israel all were made corporate entities that were totally unaccountable, self-interested, for-profit corporations abusing the powers of government. With the demise of the now fiat U.S. dollar, all those corporate entities were now bankrupt under Chapter 11 and thus no longer had contract rights. The Khazarian Mafia's Israeli corporation's license ran out October 31st, 2023. The very reason why Israel was cooperating with Hamas to gain for war on its own people, it needed the income. Along with the other cabal corporations of U.S. Inc., the Vatican, Holy See, City of Rome, UN Corporation, and UK Inc., Israel obtaining funding for both sides of a war was very lucrative. Another of those corporations was the CIA-owned Evergreen Inc., including Evergreen LLC and Evergreen PLC, that U.S. Inc., the Vatican, Holy See, City of Rome, UN Corporation, and UK Inc. have all subcontracted for the use of their child sex trafficking. Trump was very busy after gaining office in 2016. The Act of England at 1871 was repealed, while the Secondary Judiciary Act of 1869 was no longer active. The International Emergency Economic Powers Act gave Trump power to impose economic sanctions on foreign countries and individuals in response to a national emergency. In other words, he could take down U.S. Inc., the Vatican, Holy See, City of Rome, UN Inc., UK Inc., and State of Israel corporations. Therefore, President Trump's executive orders 13818, 13848, and 13959 has allowed the new U.S. Republic and Treasury to seize all assets, stocks, shares, trades, bank accounts, businesses, homes, investment companies of these corporate entities and persons for human rights abuse and election interference. As a result of Trump's executive orders and return of U.S. gold from the Vatican Bank, all of the above corporations were now null and void. In February 2020, 650 plane loads of gold were taken from under the Vatican in a tunnel that ran between Rome and Israel. The gold was given back to its real owners, mainly the new U.S. Treasury. All of this was under transition now, with gold no longer being suppressed and over 200 countries dumping the U.S. dollar. We are now ready for the initiation of the new republic. Very quietly, in March 2020, the Rothschild U.S. Central Bank was hijacked. On May 4, 2020, the 1871 Corporate Act was dissolved. A few months later, on July 4, 2020, the new republic with the original Constitution was invoked upon Trump and JFK Jr.'s visit to Mount Rushmore, where they were installed as president and vice president. Palestine was under UK rule on November 2, 1917, when Foreign Minister Arthur Balfour wrote to Lord Rothschild, a leader of the British Jewish community. At the time, Palestinians made up 90% of the population. They blamed the Balfour Declaration that became the State of Israel Corporation for encouraging Zionists and ultimately handing their land to the Jewish homeland, the future Israel, by 1947. The State of Israel Corporation was actually created by the Khazarian Mafia with help of the Rothschilds as a result of Trump's executive orders, which took away their corporation privileges. Israel became bankrupt, resulting in a war between Israel and Palestine for land acquisition. More recently, the Khazarians had been kicked out of Ukraine by Putin, and assets of ex-president of Ukraine Petro Poroshenko were frozen. It cut off a lifeline of drugs, arms, and human trafficking, money essential to the survival of U.S. Inc. The Khazarian Mafia money laundering base was in Ukraine, and with Putin freeing Ukraine, plus Trump and the White Hats removing Khazarian control by the U.S. by taking away their control over U.S. taxpayer monies fed into the Khazarians' Fed, the only country that Khazarians had left was the Rothschild-established Israel. The Federal Reserve was now under the new U.S. Treasury. The Khazarian Rothschild bankers could no longer print out endless fiat U.S. dollars used to suppress the Middle East through the petrodollar. By January 1st, 2024, Iraq would no longer use the USD in everyday commerce. Actually, the three whammies weren't necessary to remove Biden, as confirmed by Kevin McCarthy last week. McCarthy mentioned that the U.S. was already under continuity of government law, or military law, which meant that the military was over every branch of government, including the president. The military was the first form of government founded in our nation. Our founders established a military first, the Army, Navy, and Marines, long before Declaration of Independence, Articles of Confederation, Constitution, and Bill of Rights. In addition, military law superseded civilian law. Biden, as the president of a defunct U.S. Inc., did not have the authority of Trump, who was Commander-in-Chief of the military. Article 2 of the Constitution, Commander-in-Chief, is separate from Article 3, Federal Government. So Biden was already out and he didn't even know it. For the first time in history of the United States, the Supreme Court clarified this in the Military Justice Act of 2016, though it didn't pass until they were under COG in the 2017 National Defense Authorization Act. Thus, we have been in a peaceful transition of power since 2020. This is what Donald Trump meant when he stated that he put the government on pause. So what is coming up on October 31st? The expiration of the State of Israel. Remember, if the Rothschilds control both the Federal Reserve and Israel, and both are bankrupt, where does that leave U.S. congressional members who have dual citizenship of Palestine and U.S. Inc. powerless? Do you think the new Speaker of the House knows this? Absolutely. Why do you think he announced that he's putting a bill together for Israel instead of a budget? The new Israeli government program will not be for the current status of Israeli government. That parliament has already resigned. What's next? Stock market crash, Joe Biden impeachment, gold standard return, Iraq IQD exchange rate, and the new republic, liberation, and justice. World War III. Saturday, October 28th, Biden invokes Presidential War Powers Act and notifies Congress. That's from Rumor Mill News. Saturday, October 28th, breaking military intel. Breakpoint Alpha. Over 32 governors and top military officials have been summoned to the Pentagon, not for a routine meeting. AMG News. The largest fleet of warships of NATO has ever assembled is gathering in the eastern Mediterranean Sea. Saturday, October 28th, unraveling the maze. How Middle East conflict shapes the 2024 election. Pentagon deploys 900 more troops to the Middle East. 1 hour ago, Mark Levin made huge announcement. In 24 hours, everything changes. And messages have surfaced implying Obama's direct orders to Biden to maintain an open border. Oh, so there it is. We knew it was Obama behind the scenes. Regardless of plummeting approval rates, Obama hinted at compensating with fraudulent votes. Oh, great. Should illegal immigration hit 30%, America faces potential turmoil. So that they're future voters as well as an army. Sunday, October 29th, Netanyahu in nuclear bunker. And says, alert, Netanyahu stays in near nuclear bunker, diplomats flee, 5,000 U.S. troops, 71 warships amassing. That's from Canadian Prepper. Sunday, October 29th, D'Souza new film, Police State. Dinesh D'Souza's new film, Police State, opens up Pandora's box with real people assaulted by deep state operatives. Are you next? This is not the America you will recognize anymore. How scary is that? Before it's news. The real news for Sunday, October 29th, 2023. Jim Jordan. We know that the Department of Justice spied on President Trump's campaign. We know the DOJ spied on parents speaking up at school board meetings. Now we know that the DOJ spied on Congress as well. Full media blackout, Acapulco completely destroyed by hurricane. And if you saw yesterday's highlights video, Michael Jaco discussed Acapulco and how that was a deep state storm. And we have unbreaking, full media blackout, Acapulco completely destroyed by another DEW attack. Just like Maui, this was not a natural event. Saturday, October 28th, list of over 188 deep underground military bases situated under most major cities. U.S. Air Force bases, U.S. Navy bases, and U.S. Army bases underneath FEMA military training camps and DHS control centers. AMG News. Saturday, October 28th, Project Subterrane and Top Secret Underground Tunnels Under America. NORAD and DUMS inside NORAD's Cheyenne Mountain Combat Center. AMG. Climate change bill exposes globalist agenda to control the people by banning flying and private car ownership. You'll go nowhere and be happy. It is a true assault on our freedom of movement in the name of climate change. Former U.S. government insider Mark Morano exposes the globalist agenda to ban flying and private car ownership under the guise of saving the planet. What they're trying to do is make a fare expensive and difficult to obtain, airfare. And that's actually baked into these climate regulations. Same thing with cars. They are intentionally collapsing our plentiful car supply by banning gas-powered cars. That creates rationing, which creates shortages, which is then going to force people into mass transit. Court records show Trump plans to present classified information at the January 6th indictment trial that shows there was foreign interference in the 2020 election. Joe Biden is not the real Joe Biden. Joe Biden is not the real president. U.S. Inc. filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy, 2020 case number, and we're watching a white hat movie, the 2021 U.S. Inc. Joe Biden shadow presidency. Texas became the first state in the U.S. to build its own border wall, and Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas, Montana, Oklahoma, Arizona, and Utah have all banned schools and universities from requiring COVID vaccinations. Yes, Katie Hobbs is at Gitmo, awaiting... Oh, don't you just wish you could see it all? Awaiting a military tribunal. Real Raw News. World Economic Forum's son exposing crimes against humanity. Singing like a bird to prosecutors in crimes against humanity case. SG Anon and Scott McKay doubling down on the greatest information dissemination operation in world history. Bonus number 1, detox heavy metals in less than 30 seconds a day. Dr. Sherry Tenpenny explains how. And that's from Vigilante News. Bonus number 2, 10 signs you have a vaccine injury and what you can do about it. Insights from top doctors. And bonus number 3, gold prices surged to $1,981.42 at the end of last week, nearing an all-time high. Remember, the gold and silver prices, from my understanding, have been suppressed. And at some point, that ceiling that would, stop the prices from going above a certain level was going to be lifted. And again, that's just what I understand. I can't, I don't know what's going to happen or what, I can't confirm that, but that's what it looks like to me. Sunday, October 29th, Israel is last, David Wilcock. The war between dark and light is the war between Satan and God, between the reptilian bloodline of Satan and the human bloodline of Jesus. And don't forget, the demonics, the demons, the fallen angels are in control of the reptilians. Okay, that's one thing we did learn from listening to Blue Water. In our healthcare and political systems, Israel will expose the root of all corruption and evil in our religion systems. The revelation of the hijacking of Scripture by Satan centuries ago, the light on this planet was dimmed by the false light of darkness. And the snake entered the Garden of Eden and went undercover in the snake pit. The head of the snake in the Vatican, the body of the snake formed the Silk Road, leading to Wuhan, where it spread out its venom. Hiding in the snake pit in Israel, where Satanism was hijacked parts of Scripture and became the false light that fooled humanity and evil frequencies of fear, shame, and guilt. Separated from God and the love we all are. Separated in religions, race, politics, creating dark for centuries. Separated by a small group who benefited from the controlling of the energies and the people. This small group, the satanic elite, the Illuminati, the Cabal. All the royal families of Europe, Baltic, and Russian countries claimed their ancestor as Wotan or Odin. Wotan or Odin was a Pendragon, a serpent, a snake, a reptilian. 13 royal families are reptilian hybrids who are shapeshifters posing as humans. Commander Thor has been telling us this all along, and that's what he and his light being family, that's what they're clearing out in these deep ancient underground tunnels under Geneva. Serpent symbolism is all over the Catholic religion. In St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican, the Pope literally sits in the mouth of a serpent as the tongue and preaches deception. The Druze bloodline of Jesus are the descendants of Jethro, the priest of Midian in the Bible and Torah, Exodus 2:18. The 16th President of the United States of America, Abraham Lincoln, descended from the Calhouni family. In 1855, ISIS was formed by kings of Morocco and Libya, Hassan family, together with the royal British family. They signed in the Mohammed law, which was to kill the bloodlines of Jesus Christ, Druze. 6 years later, they merged with the Skull and Bones, Rothschilds, Schurf, Rockefellers, Schiff, like Shifty Schiff, aka Bush and Kissinger's, etc. Skull and Bones. ISIS assassinated JFK. 1855, ISIS formed by the Sansui family linked to UK royals, the Khazarians. 1861 merged with 322 Skull and Bones, Khazarians. 1870 to 1930, Big Pharma, Khazarian. 1871, Act of England, secret constitution placed by secret societies, Khazarians. 1912, Titanic Olympics sinking. Who was on board? What really happened? Well, remember, the Titanic was it was, I think, the Olympiad or the Olympic that sank, not the Titanic. That was switched at the last minute. And the captain was a Jesuit. And, they went barreling through this ice field. And, it just didn't make any sense. But so they're calling, they call it a false flag event. So somehow it was planned because there's 3 people that were on board that were against the Federal Reserve. One of them was Jacob Astor. And they needed to get rid of any opposition. And so that's what they did. And then right after the sinking of the Titanic, the Federal Reserve in 1913 was formed. 1917 to 1923, Bolshevik Revolution. 1945 to 1959, Operation Paperclip, Mockingbird. 1948, Israel formed, Khazarian Bolshevik government. 1949, Mossad equals CIA formed. Whistleblower General Flynn exposed the Golan terrorist network. Flynn discovered that the Obama administration was creating funding and arming of jihadists who later waved the flag of ISIS. These jihadist actions were taking place in Gaza. Obama, with the help of the CIA, NATO, and his jihadist cronies, were seeking to top Assad in Syria. These treasonous administrations created funding of ISIS, AO. The U.S. jihadists morphed into the Arab Spring, destabilized the Middle East, and created the orchestrated migration crisis. Hillary took part in the launching of the Arab Spring as Secretary of State under the Obama administration. Flynn blew the whistle on the involvement in the Golan terrorist network of the Obama administration and by default of H.W. Bush, George Bush, Clinton, the State Department, FBI, CIA, and the DOJ. Now, circle back to Israel today. Do not be fooled. Those buildings fully collapsing in the Gaza Strip being hit from one missile are controlled demolitions. Deep state operators inside both Israel and Palestine camps. See, the deep state plays both sides. They fund both sides. And they, get people to fight against one another. People who, they create this dichotomy. Israel against Palestine, Palestine against Israel. And it's worked quite well. As you can see in the streets of London and New York City, the protests are really bad. And it says, both Israel and Palestine camps have been infiltrated long ago. Mossad, CIA. Israeli handlers are in fact Mossad, UK, MI6, Rothschilds, and CIA. Dominion servers have a lot to hide, from human trafficking to Epstein creation to the Vatican Bank to the Mossad Khazarian mafia controlling Ukraine. And connections from the snake pit of corruption by Israeli elites run deep into United States MSM CIA control. Evacuate from these cities. Shadow of Ezra on Telegram. New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Houston, Nashville, New Orleans, Charlotte, San Francisco, Detroit, Seattle, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Baltimore, Boston, Miami. 17 cities, one event. George W. Bush throws out the first pitch of the 119th World Series in 9/11 and Skull and Bones ritual. Bush threw out the ceremonial first pitch, a perfect Skull and Bones count of exactly 3 months, 22 days after his 76th birthday. Skull and Bones equals 76, reverse reduction. Last year on his 76th birthday, the Georgia Guidestones were destroyed. Just like the 2001 World Series, the Arizona Diamondbacks are in it. The game was played on 10/27, and on 9/11, buildings 1, 2, and 7 came down. Bush used to own the Texas Rangers, and they won the game 6-5. 6 plus 5 equals 11 in the 11th inning. His father, George Bush Sr., gave his New World Order speech exactly 11 years before 9/11, 2001. New York is the 11th state, and the Twin Towers, which resembled the number 11, came down on the 11th day of the month. American Airlines Flight 11 was the first and deadliest plane to crash on 9/11. In the game, Arizona had 8 hits and Texas had 9. 89 is the 11th Fibonacci number. So numbers and numerology are the occult uses these religiously. And if you watched yesterday's video with Michael Jaco, he talked all about numerology and how you can see the signature of the deep state over a lot of events just looking at the numbers. The Federal Reserve Cartel, the Rothschild, Rockefeller, and Morgan families. The 4 horsemen of banking, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, and Wells Fargo, own the 4 horsemen of oil, ExxonMobil, Royal Dutch Shell, BP, and Chevron Texaco, in tandem with Deutsche Bank, BNP Barclays, and other European old money behemoths. But their monopoly over the global economy does not end at the edge of the oil patch. They, the music industry, through a wide network of private banks, private investors, privatization of the music industry through record label conglomerates, and companies that do the bidding of the North American Rockefeller crime cartel and elite organizations. In the early 1900s, the Rockefellers' military commercialization of music changed the world standard, tuning of music through the world to 440 pitch. This frequency was known to create greater aggression, psychosocial agitation, emotional distress, predisposing people to physical illnesses and financial impositions, profiting the agents, agencies, and companies engaged in the monopoly. Excuse me. In the late 1980s, the Rockefellers brought together the top music executives and top talent together in Los Angeles, California. Purpose of the highly important secretive meeting was to bring in the age of controlled rap music, which would connect to privatization of U.S. prisons. Wow. These privately owned prisons by the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bushes were money laundering operations, tax exemption schemes, pyramid scheme operations. The idea of controlling the rap industry and black communities through violent music supported by oppression and civil unrest connected to young black youth as their targets. The Rockefellers brought together the top executives and first leading black rappers, artists. After signing a confidentiality agreement of the meeting, the purpose of the agenda was told to the invited members. They were told the violence of the rap music movement would be coordinated, and the first major record companies, labels producing the music would have all the rights to production and distribution through the United States, and they would have shares of points inside the private prison systems. The high-level Masonic plan worked, and by 1990 there were over 1,500 private prison systems housing over 1 million black teenagers who used the violent rap music to express a black generational trauma instilled in them. The private prison systems got hundreds of billions a year from the government sectors. Everyone got paid, including Congress, Senate, etc., etc. I bet the judges that sit on the courts that were putting these young people in jail also got a kickback. How sad is that? It's tragic. It's just tragic and sick. Who passed bills and laws allowing money to flow to the new prison system. Money laundering came in the forms of super high inflated products inmates could purchase, oftentimes 8 times higher than the average national value. Ramen noodles, which cost only 15 cents, was inflated to $1.50, equals 10 times more. Food, supplies, clothing was a major market to hide hundreds of billions of laundered money. Hundreds of billions came from government funding. Hundreds of billions was moved through pyramid schemes. Hundreds of billions was moved through insurance companies. By the end of year 2000, as the Rockefellers had planned, their privatization of prisons had raked in trillions over a 12-year span. Local courts and judges threw the books at petty criminals, first-time offenders, and filled the continuing creating of private prisons. So they're for profit. Unbelievable. To this day, the United States has the most incarcerated humans in prison through the world, with the most prisons ever created, and this was all by design. The Rockefellers not only control the world medical industry, the U.S. media, tech giants, big pharma, but also control the music industry. Today, with military alliance operations removing Rothschild's deep state power in Europe, UK, Russia, and China, the White Hat's military operation puts Rockefellers inside the kill box. The FBI knew about Biden corruption and did nothing. Israel knew about Hamas's planned attack and did nothing. For years, Congress knew about the fiat dollar and did nothing. Now the world is in crisis on so many fronts. It's time somebody did something. Trust the plan Q. A dark winter was predicted during 2024. It's only wise to be prepared and store several months' worth of cash, water, food, and essential items for yourself and to help others. It's interesting. It says several months now. It used to say several weeks. It's kind of scary. Judy note, Black Monday and Tuesday, Halloween stock market crash and crisis. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs close hundreds of branches, lay off thousands as they brace for a financial meltdown, an economic crash leading to the most significant wealth transfer in history, the global currency reset. During the dark satanic Halloween All Hallows Eve season that runs from Sunday, October 29th to Wednesday, November 1st, please help to save the children. High alert. Satan followers in local satanic covens across the globe were kidnapping, raping, and holding child sacrifice rites during this, their very secretive All Hallows Eve, Halloween celebrations that culminate on Sunday, October 29th to Wednesday, November 1st. The Canadian Vancouver Club was believed to have scheduled a satanic child sex and torture rite on Saturday, October 28th. You can protest this horror of Venice Carnival Halloween event by gathering during the event on Saturday, October 28th at the Vancouver Club at 915 West Hastings Street in Vancouver, Canada, and or writing to the court handling the case. And there's the email. Learn more Sunday, October 29th at 3 p.m. Pacific time on Here We Stand Radio, BBS Radio. Friday, October 27th, Trump returns. White Hats, Intel, current situation. Trump's Red Friday redemption, extremism on American soil, White Hats, military, and trumpet sounds being heard across the world. AMG News. Be prepared for emergency broadcast system activation, where the White Hat military will be taking down the fake news mainstream media satellites and providing real news through the new Starlink satellite system. There is a time when everything will change and the world will have no internet for a while. We are approaching that timeline. Get ready for it, Q. What we think we know as of Friday, October 2023. Barack Hussein Obama was a mass murderer and puppet master for a deceased Biden who commanded 200,000 uranium-contaminated drone bombs. Wow. Uranium-contaminated drone bombs in the Middle East on children, women, and men. Obama, I would say, is a reptilian, was preceded in these evil deeds of the Satan-worshipping UN by the mass murderers of the reptilian Bush and Clinton clan. Since 2014, the U.S. has been backing the UN Nazi Germany genocide of the citizens of Ukraine in the Donbass region until Russia stepped in and finally stopped it around October 5th, 2023. Donbass was considered a major headquarters of the cabal's international child sex trafficking, adrenochrome, and organ harvesting ring until the Russian takeover this October. The Russian military rescued hundreds of children, after which the global White Hat Special Forces crushed the cartel. Special Forces Spetsnaz team crushes adrenochrome cartel in Ukraine. Real Raw News. Over 500,000 innocent Ukrainian citizens were killed in that Ukrainian Holocaust sponsored by the N.EWS. The cabal's Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street received major funding off of these war efforts of the N.EWS. Many of those dead Ukrainians were children who were sexually abused, tortured, and then used for adrenochrome and organ harvesting in underground tunnels and U.S.-sponsored bioweapons labs. Putin cleared out those underground tunnel bioweapon labs and rescued thousands of children. Thousands of children rescued Ukraine property containing U.S.-run bioweapon labs. And remember what Commander Thor told us about the labs. Those bioweapon labs were moved to Romania, to places in Romania. And that's why they had sent U.S. troops over there, or UN troops, or not UN troops, but NATO troops, and, for the cabal to guard. And I'm sure these troops did not know they're guarding these underground or these bioweapon labs, but that's why you see troops landing in Romania. Biden owned property in Ukraine, under which was a major underground tunnel used for child sex and human trafficking. Biden and Obama tied to child sex trafficking. Children, bodies rescued from U.S. bioweapon labs under Biden Ukraine property. Over $46 billion of U.S. taxpayer dollars had been spent on weapons for Ukraine that were manufactured in the U.S. by the Woodward Company, weapons that were now being sent to bomb Gaza. The top shareholder of Woodward was the cabal's Vanguard Company. Everything is owned by BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. You just follow the money. They own the media. They own all the weapons companies. They own governments. They own the pharmaceutical companies. And the people who sit on those boards and they own those big mega corporations are the Illuminati. They're the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and others that we don't even know. And they run the world. That's how they do it. Senator reveals Biden released thousands of migrant children into hands of pedophiles. The people's voice. The real war going is not between Israelis and Palestinians, but between white hats and Satanists. White hat special forces are now in Israel with shoot-to-kill orders against any person who goes against the rules of war and chivalry by attacking non-combatants. They understand very well that the Satanists are pretending to be both Hamas and Israeli soldiers. The Satanist job is to stage horrific incidents on both sides in order to incite Israelis and Arabs into killing each other. And they're inciting also here in the United States all of these Palestinians, all these people out protesting for the Palestinians. These protests are violent. People are getting hurt. They're not traditional, what we call protests. They're more like riots, and people are, it's inciting just more violence. That's what Satanists want. I mean, it goes back to the Bible. It goes back to, Satan wants chaos. And that's what they're creating, all of this chaos. A Hamas crisis actor pretends to be a victim of an Israeli airstrike, appearing in a hospital bed while pretending to be in a critical condition as two supporting actors hold his hand. In reality, the man is a Hamas musician and actor who has been appearing in various videos for the terror group. One video he's seen celebrating in the streets as Hamas fires rockets towards Israel. In another video, he can be seen crying after claiming his apartment was hit by an airstrike. And in another video, he's seen singing while brandishing a gun while praising Hamas. Global currency reset. Friday, October 27th, Mark C. Let's hope my Iraqi contacts are correct in that they believe they are going this weekend. News from Iraq continues to be very positive. The majority of my Iraqi contacts believe we will see RV somewhere between now and the 1st. None know for certain what the timing is. Friday, October 27th, Wolverine. Already in South America, some people have been told which bank they have to go. We are close, so stand by, everyone. Thursday, October 26th, Bruce. The start of the new global financial system. The Iraqi Gazette publication of the new Iraqi dinar rate and Tier 4B receiving notification to set exchange redemption appointments was expected to happen by Saturday, October 28th. Thursday, October 26th, TNT. Today we were told that new dinar rate announcement was imminent. Iraq placed lower demons of dinar at ports and airlines on Thursday, October 26th. Wednesday, October 25th, Militiaman. Recently, we showed that the World Trade Organization is talking about full ascension in the fourth quarter, and we are now in that fourth quarter. For the past 2 weeks, the revalued Iraqi dinar has been trading on the back screens of the Forex and putting itself in a position for the new international exchange rate that was soon to be made public, according to Iraqi banks. Get ready for EBS activation. Q says that after Argentina's election on Sunday, October 22nd, everything would change and the world would soon have no internet for a while. We are approaching that timeline. Get ready for it. Q bombshell. EBS activation on Saturday, October 22nd. Biden's retirement, Trump's return, and the White Hat's plan revealed. EBS activation on Tuesday, October 31st. Trump said he was turning off the freaking lights at Halloween. Did he mean EBS activation on Tuesday, October 31st? In the next 3 to 6 months, the Rodriguez Trust will begin to administer universal basic income for citizens of all GC.R compliant countries. The amount per individual or family will depend on the status, needs, employment level, and age of the person, family, and will work to encourage people to work if they can. Global financial crisis. Black Monday, October 30th to 31st, an economic crash leading to the most significant wealth transfer in history. What more fitting day than Halloween to bring this nation to its knees? Friday, October 27th, Dow Jones falling off a cliff. And that's Google.com. Banks in crisis mode. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Goldman Sachs close hundreds of branches and lay off thousands as they brace for financial meltdown in an unprecedented move that spells doom for the U.S. banking sector. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Goldman Sachs have initiated a series of drastic measures. The financial titans are shutting down hundreds of branches and pink-slipping thousands of employees, all in anticipation of a financial meltdown that could reshape the nation's financial landscape. Johnson & Johnson planning for bankruptcy as pharma company faces over 50,000 lawsuits linking baby powder to cancer. The real news for Friday, October 27th, 2023. On Thursday, October 27th, the U.S. officially joined the war in the Middle East. The U.S. military carried out multiple airstrikes in Syria. Breaking news, U.S. attacks Syria, AMG News. Gaza's Got Talent, Hamas actor was dying yesterday and today he's out filming. So far, we've seen him in Hamas songs as a singer, a video blogger cheering Hamas rockets as they land on civilians and then crying, claiming to be the victim, then in hospital. What next? Are they going to have like a Golden Globes for Hamas? Maybe he could win Best Actor. The night of October 7th, 2023, a war broke out in Israel. Fox News covered the war non-stop. 17 days later, on the night of October 24th, 2023, there was a mass shooting in Maine, which is the new narrative they're covering non-stop. Yeah, there's all kinds of strange information about that shooting in Maine. 17 days later, Fox News forgot about a war in Israel. That's how they do it. And people fall for it. The plan of the Great Reset is that you will die with nothing, said Australian Senator Malcolm Roberts in the Australian Parliament, and then continued to drop serious truth bombs about Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum and its dystopian Great Reset agenda. Klaus Schwab's life by subscription is really serfdom. It's slavery. Billionaire globalist corporations will own nothing or will own everything. Homes, factories, farms, cars, furniture, and everyday citizens will rent what they need, but only if their social credit score allows it. If they're good, they have to be good and go along with what the government wants. All Disney celebrities are clones. Doctor at Disney Engineering Lab admitting to cloning stars to make them ready to do what Disney wanted. Apparently, cloning seems to be way more prevalent than anybody ever thought. They kept it hidden for a long time, but I think it's really coming out now. It's amazing. If you saw the video clip of Kid Rock a couple days ago, I think, on my situation update, his clone, he showed his clone. And I mean, it's really amazing. The clone, acts and talks just like the original. I don't know how they do it. I mean, there is the science behind it and everything that makes sense, but it's just really hard to wrap your mind around it. Friday, October 27th, all clones will be executed. World War III. Friday, October 27th, U.S. bombs Syria to provoke Iran into World War III. All power cut in the Gaza as huge assault is launched. And breaking news, U.S. attacks Syria. IMG News says, breaking, it's starting. Israel begins Gaza ground invasion. Redacted news. Friday, October 27th, Gaza Strip. Russian television RT reports complete loss of contact with their crew inside Gaza. That's because I think they cut off the internet, they cut off electricity, water, everything. Even TV satellite uplinks are not working, possibly being jammed. Sources in and around Gaza are claiming that the artillery, tank, and airstrikes on the northern Gaza Strip tonight are the heaviest they have seen since the start of the war. Israel knew about Hamas's planned attack and did nothing. They've been ringing all the alarm bells, but their commanders ignored them. According to a report by Israel's Channel 12, IDF soldiers situated on the Gaza border repeatedly raised the alarm about Hamas's training exercises to their superiors, but were ignored each time. We understand from conversations we had with several observation unit soldiers that for a long time they were passing on very problematic information on a regular basis. There were also Hamas training exercises which were also observed on a regular basis. No one paid attention. The FBI knew about Biden corruption and did nothing. In fact, I think they blackmailed him and controlled him. Jim Biden is Joe Biden's brother and bagman. October 22nd, 2023, corruption at the highest levels of government proof. FBI knew about Hunter and Jim business dealings, 3-year delta. And back in October 22nd, 2020, the FBI knew and had evidence of 2020 election interference and did nothing about it. QP4939, October 22nd, 2020, tweet John Roberts Fox on Bob Linsky. This is not going away. Corruption at the highest levels of government, DOJ, FBI, MSDNC, political elite, protection struggles during bright, sunny days. 10:32 p.m., October 22nd, 2020. Q. John Roberts Fox tweet. Tony Bobulinski will announce that he will turn his electronic devices and records over business dealings with Hunter and Jim Biden over to the FBI. And the FBI's blackmail plot against Joe Biden involved 40 informants spying on him. Biden crime family. Years and years of Biden family corruption showing millions of dollars laundered through pay-to-play schemes via shell companies. Media silent. Some bullshit story concocted by Senate Democrats and the New York Times about an RV loan from one of Clarence Thomas's friends. Wall-to-wall media blitz. The dishonest, corrupt mainstream media is truly the enemy of the people. Larry Silverstein profits big on 9/11 scam. Just weeks before September 11th, lucky Larry Silverstein purchased the World Trade Center. Larry called the collapse of Building 7 before it collapsed. Acquires a 99-year lease for Twin Towers just 6 weeks before 9/11. Insures both towers for $3.2 billion against acts of terrorism, and ensures he can build new WTC complex if destroyed. Wife allegedly convinces him to attend dermatologist appointment on morning of 9/11 instead of scheduled meeting in the North Tower. Twin Towers attacked, collapsing to dust along with his other skyscraper, World Trade Center 7, all plummeting at near free fall speed, demolition style. Files insurance claim for $7 billion, arguing attacks on the Twin Towers consisted of 2 separate events. Thus, double compensation is required. What a scam. Settles for $4.5 billion compensation on Twin Towers and collects millions in other insurance payouts, and then builds the new World Trade Center complex. Before Greater Israel expands its borders, they have a few things to do. Denuclearize Pakistan, regime change in Russia, start a civil war between Iran and Saudi Arabia, bring down all world currencies, rebuild the Temple of Solomon, divide the MAGA movement, and bring down the U.S. military from within. Well, they're definitely working on that, aren't they? Sunday, October 29th through Wednesday, November 1st. World on brink of World War III. Biden on the brink of impeachment. SCOTUS announcement about the 2020 election fraud expected on Friday, August the 27th, 2023. Canadian Vancouver Club to hold satanic pedophile and child sacrifice right, Saturday, October 28th, 2023. Global economic crash expected on Black Monday, October 30th. An IRS and Federal Reserve on brink of being dissolved. Cabal poisoning world food supply in line with their depopulation agenda. It may be a dark winter in 2024. It's only wise to be prepared and store several months' worth of cash, water, food, and essential items for yourself and to help others. A Child's Prayer. This is from the Tabernacle Choir. We have a YouTube link. And another as is I Am a Child of God, the Tabernacle Choir. Judy note, Joe Biden appears inches from being charged with the multiple crimes, including treason, bribery, and 2020 election fraud, and was expected to resign before he was impeached. Biden was being investigated by Congress for treason, bribery, high crimes, and misdemeanors. There appears to be a boatload of evidence from Hunter Biden's laptop that he engaged throughout his long political career in corrupt practices and leveraging his position for personal gain, including the 2020 election fraud. Either the U.S. media don't understand the damage they're doing to the country, in which case they are simply stupid, or they understand everything, in which case they are corrupt and dangerous. Putin. With the global currency reset assuring demise of the Federal Reserve and IRS, and thus loss of revenue for banksters, Democrats, and rhino Republicans, they have used false flags, crisis actors, and media propagandists to play out scenarios that would support a World War III involving Israel, Palestine, Iran, and Middle Eastern countries in order to gain U.S. taxpayer monies that could be funneled back into their pockets. The real war going is not between Israelis and Palestinians, but between white hats and Satanists. White hat special forces are now in Israel with shoot-to-kill orders against any person who goes against the rules of war and chivalry by attacking non-combatants. They understand very well that the Satanists are pretending to be both Hamas and Israeli soldiers. The Satanist job is to stage horrific incidents on both sides in order to incite Israelis and Arabs into killing each other. Why is the first thing on the GOP agenda sending support to Israel? A human-engineered pathogen just killed 7+ million people. The Biden regime is corrupt. Our border is compromised. We just spent $100+ billion on the massive failure in Ukraine. The cost of living is insane. The State of Israel, or Zionism, was not formed in 1917 for the Jewish people. It was invented by the cabal to pit the Jewish people against Palestinians. Most Jewish spiritual leaders do not support the concept of Zionism, nor do the Jewish or Palestinian people support their government's declared war between Israel and Palestine, preferring to live in peace together. Thursday, October 26th. Smart cities imprisoning the people. 15-minute smart cities. SMART. S for surveillance, M for monitoring, A for analysis, R for reporting, and T for technology. It's actually the gateway to digital IDs and CBDC, central bank digital currencies. CBDCs allow bankers and/or governments to freeze your bank account because you happen to peacefully and lawfully protest and express your disagreement with government policy. 15-minute city. The statement should be read out every city council meeting in America. Thursday, October 26, United States of Gitmo. Indictments, arrests, and execution. And for years, the cabal has poisoned the U.S. and world food supply in various ways in order to promote their New World Order depopulation agenda. Global currency reset. Thursday, October 26, Bruce. The start of the new global financial system, Iraqi Gazette publication of the new Iraqi dinar rate and Tier 4B, receiving notification to set exchange redemption appointments, was expected to happen on Friday or Saturday, 27th, 28th of October. Thursday, October 26, TNT. Today we were told that new dinar rate announcement was imminent. Iraq placed lower dinams of dinar at ports and airlines on Thursday, October 26th. Wednesday, October 25th, from Mark Z. News from Iraq continues to be very positive. The majority of my Iraqi contacts believe we will see RV somewhere between now and the 1st. None know for certain what the timing is. I'm just telling you what they are feeling and hearing from inside their own country. These people are in banking and government. Wednesday, October 25th, Militia Man. Recently, we showed that the World Trade Organization is talking about full ascension in the fourth quarter. We are in it. For the past 2 weeks, the revalued Iraqi dinar has been trading on the back screens of the Forex and putting itself in a position for the new international exchange rate that was soon to be made public according to Iraqi banks. Get ready for EBS activation. Q says that after Argentina's election on Sunday, October 22nd, everything would change and the world would soon have no internet for a while. We are approaching that timeline. Get ready for it. Q bombshell. EBS activation on October 22nd, Biden's retirement, Trump's return, and the White Hat's plan revealed. EBS activation on Tuesday, October 31st. Trump said he was turning off the friggin' lights at Halloween. Did he mean EBS activation on Tuesday, October 31st? In the next 3 to 6 months, the Rodriguez Trust will begin to administer universal basic income for citizens of all GC.R compliant countries. The amount per individual or family will depend on the status, needs, employment level, and age of the person, family, and will work to encourage people to work if they can. Thursday, October 26th, new IMS International Monetary System, QFS Quantum Financial System, treaties, accords, alliances, regulations, global currency reset, GC.R in action, AMG News. Thursday, October 26th, Bruce the Big Call. New Iraqi dinar rate expected to be published in Gazette Friday or Saturday, 27th, 28th of October. International Iraqi dinar rate expected to be very high, as is Dong, Afghani, Zim, and other currency rates. Tier 4B expected to receive appointments around the time of publication of the new dinar rate in the Gazette. Start of the new global financial system was expected Friday or Saturday, 27th, 28th of October. Political change in the U.S. expected to be announced on Friday, October 27th. And the $57 billion that the U.S. sent to Ukraine, Putin has returned back to the new U.S. Treasury. Global financial crisis. Black Monday, October 30th and 31st, an economic crash leading to the most significant wealth transfer in history. What more fitting day than Halloween to bring this nation to its knees? Jack Straw on X-Jack. Thursday, October 26th, banks in crisis mode. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Goldman Sachs close hundreds of branches and lay off thousands as they brace for financial meltdown. Thursday, October 26th, NASDAQ falls Thursday, slides deeper into the correction territory. U.S. stocks fell Thursday afternoon under the pressure of disappointing third quarter results from big tech companies and high treasury yields. The Dow fell nearly 200 points, or 0.6%, and the S&P dropped 1.2%. The tech-heavy NASDAQ composite, meanwhile, sank another 2%. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ are now both in correction territory, down more than 10% since their most recent highs in July. Thursday's drop comes after the S&P 500 fell to its lowest levels since May on Wednesday, and the NASDAQ notched its worst day since February, closing down 2.4%. Banks in crisis mode. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Goldman Sachs close hundreds of branches and lay off thousands as they brace for financial meltdown. In an unprecedented move that spells doom for the U.S. banking sector, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Goldman Sachs have initiated a series of drastic measures. The financial titans are shutting down hundreds of branches and pink-slipping thousands of employees, all in anticipation of a financial meltdown that could reshape the nation's financial landscape. Emergency Broadcast System. My fellow Americans, we will be initiating the Emergency Broadcast System, EMS, in an effort to provide a direct message avoiding the fake news to all citizens. People and/or organizations that wish to do us harm during this time will be met with swift fury. Certain laws have been pre-lifted to provide our great military the necessary authority to handle and conduct these operations at home and abroad. Get ready for EBS activation. Q says that after Argentina's election on Sunday, October 22nd, everything would change and the world would soon have no internet for a while. We are approaching that timeline. Get ready for it, Q. The real news for Thursday, October 26, 2023. Thursday, October 26, engineered atrocities committed against civilians to provoke Arab response that leads to World War III. Mike Adams. JAG convicts Janet Yellen of treason. Douglas McGregor to Tucker Carlson. We're moving towards war with Iran and the chosen destination is Armageddon. The entire region is involved in the war. Thursday, October 26, flashback every American must read. Make viral, post everywhere. The secret speech of General Chi Haoshan. Details given in Chi's speech coincide with previously unpublished defector testimony on Sino-Russian military plans. Thursday, October 26th, Houston, we have a problem. Russia's newest top-secret satellite, Olympus 2000, horrified the U.S., AMG News. Red Alert. Red October is coming along nicely. Article 2, Section 4 states the president shall be removed from office. The president, vice president, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. This section establishes the grounds for impeachment of the president, vice president, and other federal officials. The process of impeachment requires a majority vote in the House of Representatives to bring charges, followed by a trial in the Senate, with a 2/3 majority required for conviction and removal from office. Impeachment requires a majority vote in the House. 218 Republicans have as of today in the House, 221 118th Congress, 2023 and 2020 to 2025. Majority Party, Democrats 48 seats, Minority Party Republicans 49 seats, other parties 3 independent, total seats 100. Marjorie Taylor suddenly made a terrifying announcement. Res.tored. Taylor made the assertion that Joe Biden, during his tenure as vice president, engaged in corrupt practices, leveraging his position for personal and familial gain. The evidence as presented includes bank statements, records, wire transfers pointing towards financial transactions with foreign entities. These transactions, it is claimed, were not just monetary exchanges, but were tied to political favors and decisions made at the highest echelons of American governance. World War III. King Kabbalah Netanyahu claims he is a child of the last light and prophesies that he will fulfill Isaiah 49. His interpretation is the Kabbalah will rule the world and we, the Gentiles, will be enslaved. Jesus calls them the synagogue of Satan, and Apostle Paul said Satan goes around masquerading as an angel of light. We will revisit Isaiah 49 and see its real meaning of releasing God's people from slavery caused by the Antichrist. Benjamin Netanyahu in the 1980s. We have the U.S. Senate, the Congress, and a record-strong Jewish lobby on our side. We have a huge influence over them. America won't force us into anything. And Wednesday, October 25th, Chabad leader Menachem Mendel Schneerson on his plans for destroying Messiah, Ukraine, and Russia.